How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about the Creepshow Holiday Special. This is from 2020 and is put out, of course, by Shudder. This episode was written and directed by series creator Greg Nicotero. Good to see him there. It stars Anna Camp and Adam Pauly, and is based on the story Shapeshifters Anonymous by J.A. Conrath. Anyway, as you guys know, Creepshow Season 2 was supposed to be during 2020. We obviously had that whole big pandemic thing, so what I can assume the crew decided to do instead is the two specials that we got that year. I already talked about the animated special, but they also put out the holiday special. And I'm glad that they were able, even under limited confinement, were able to find ways to shoot what they could when they could. And I do love that the show must go on attitude. So we didn't get a full season, but we got two really interesting and fun specials. And the Creepshow Holiday Special, I am really glad we got this. I do really love seeing TV episodes for specific holidays. We already had Halloween with All Hallows Eve, and now we have something for Christmas. And I do want to see, more holiday stuff, do a Thanksgiving episode maybe, that would be fun. But anyway, this is about a guy who thinks he's a werewolf, so he goes to this meeting, Shapeshifters Anonymous, like Alcoholics Anonymous, but for people who think they're shapeshifters. And it starts off as this, weird, quirky, something you'd see out of an indie horror movie these days. There's a ton of quirky indie horror movie, horror comedies. And it starts off there, and, you get a whole bunch of jokes, and, it really does flow pretty well. And I thought, even if this is all it is, even if you don't actually see the shape-shifting, you could get away with just this. It's funny for what it is, but of course, you do actually get that. This is Creepshow, they're not going to leave it just subtly, and at the end they really do swing for the fences, and it does kind of become like a Power Rangers episode or something, but it's Creepshow, it's silly, and that's the point, So they really do go big, over the top, and silly for the finale, and if you're saying, wait, you said this was a Christmas special, what do werewolves have to do with Christmas? Well, it turns out in this story they are very much tied together, and it takes a hard turn into being a Christmas episode, and it really is fun and great for the holidays. Now, if you guys like this, I do have a recommendation for you. There's this movie, Ava's Possessions, and Ava's Possessions is, this one was Werewolves Anonymous. This is Spiritual Possessions Anonymous, so it's a bunch of people like in The Exorcist who had been possessed before, and they're going to a anonymous meeting. So if you like the Creepshow Holiday Special, I'd go ahead and recommend this. But anyway, yeah, Ava's Possessions. Fun movie. I actually have a review for it. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few of the plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what this episode's about. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We open up with this guy who's trying to be let into a basement door at a church, and they at first don't want to let him in. They're like, hey, look, this is just for us, it's a secret thing. And he's like, I brought cookies, and someone in the background's like, hey, don't be a jerk, just let him in, and he eventually talks his way in. And of course, there's this fun bit where they all go for the cookies, but that's the thing. But he's like, is this the Shapeshifters Anonymous meeting? I think I might be a werewolf. And you get to talk to all these characters and meet them, and one of the things that they say is like, look, you think you're a werewolf, but that's actually very unlikely. There's a whole bunch of other types of things you can shift into, and you could be any different animal. And they talk about the people at the meeting, and one of them's a were-boar, turns into a pig. One of them's a were-turtle, not the ferocious creature, but lots of protection. But he talks about, yeah, when I turn into a were-turtle, I don't kill people. I just eat a bunch of lettuce, you know? So that's overall not a bad one to be. But also you get the main girl, who is a school teacher, that turns into a cheetah, you know? But you also do get two more members that are a little bit different. One is this big silent guy that you don't know who he is or what he's up to. And they're like, yeah, he's silent, he doesn't say anything, but you know what? He comes to every meeting and he can just sit there if he wants, it's fine. So you have your big silent guy, but you also get this girl that's not really a shapeshifter. She's a furry that wants to turn into a hippo, but she has to put on a suit because she can't do it through magic. And, you know, the were-boar does make a few jokes at her expense because he's the comedy character. But overall, the group says, hey, she comes to every meeting and we do like the company, you know. So I do like that they didn't just turn this character into a punching bag. And the group, even though she's not exactly a shapeshifter, the group still accepts her, you know. So I did find that, you know, nice that they didn't just do a punching bag character there, you know. But anyway, they do, you know, tell a story. They get him to talk about why he came here, and, you know, there's this whole bit where he was cursed by one of his neighbors in his apartment building for being too loud, and she was a gypsy, but when he turned into an animal, he ate her, and he didn't know he was turning into an animal till he would find weird things in his stool, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, huh, maybe you're sleepwalking or something. But he eventually investigates and gets to where we are now, and they do their little Shapeshifters Anonymous meeting opening, and they go, I will try to control myself and only eat bad people, and a bunch of stuff along those lines. And then it ends with, and avoid the evil of Santa Claus. And that's where the story takes a sharp turn into Christmas. The guy's like, what do you mean, avoid the evil of Santa Claus? And he goes, oh, you don't know? Santa's tied deeply into the lore of shapeshifters. It's even in the Bible. And he goes, no, it's not. And he goes, well, it's not in the current version of the Bible. It got edited out because no one believed it. And he goes to a secret safe, and he pulls out a big book, the Book of Bob. Bob being the first shapeshifter. And it talks about how Santa was a being that was created just to hunt down shapeshifters. And they talk about a bunch of little ways how the Santa that we know is just a misconstruction of what the actual story was. And it was like he was a being that would hunt down shapeshifters, and he gave presents to their kids because he got sad about killing so many. And also he has a weapon, Satan's Claws, which people misheard as Santa Claus, you know. So a bunch of little ways, and it's a really interesting story, and I don't want to spoil it all for you. But yeah, the idea that Santa and shapeshifters are totally tied together, and it's this whole big thing. And then, of course, they say, well, have you seen any Santas recently? And in his flashback scene, you did see a few creepy mall Santas, and you're wondering what that's about. Well, it turns out they followed him here, and we get a Defend the Base style movie. Turns out Ben from Night of the Living Dead was right. You really don't want to be in a basement when a group of people's coming after you. But you get a whole bunch of mall Santas flooding in, and of course you do eventually get an excuse to use their powers. I was really thinking that this might be the quirky episode where they don't show anything, but don't worry, this is Creepshow. They go all in, and these costumes, these their animal forms, when they do turn, are primarily practical effects, and overall it's a lot cheaper and a whole lot better looking than if they had tried to just do digital models, especially trying to simulate fur. That would have been a pain in the butt. But this also does make it feel more 80s, which I really do like as well. I feel that that's one of the goals of the show. And it gets big, it gets over the top. Shapeshifters fighting an army of mall Santas. that is just something you can only get with Creepshow. You know, a whole lot of people would have felt restrained and said, hey, let's just leave the supernatural to be a mystery or whatever. But no, this show goes, they're definitely not crazy, they are shapeshifters, and we're going to go all in with this world being real, this world being big, this world being over the top. And yeah, it's silly, but that's the point. It's Creepshow, and it does get, you know, like I said, kind of feels like a Power Rangers episode at times, but crazy, over-the-top action is super goofy, but you gotta love it. And I really do like how this episode plays out, and I definitely recommend it. The Creepshow Holiday Special is this weird little thing. It's this concept that no one else would come up with. Werewolves hate Santa Claus. Who else would have done this? And it plays out in the biggest, most over-the-top way you could want. And, you know, it really is a very different holiday special. Yet when you get to the point where this aggressively turns into Christmas, and you see all those mall Santas run in, and you see it get to be big and over the top, I mean, you can't help but love it, you know? So overall, I definitely recommend, if you like cheesier things, to go ahead and watch this. Even before it goes all out and over the top, there is a bunch of funny and quirky moments, and you get to see things like them doing tests to try to figure out which animal he turns into, or telling all their personal stories, or having fun banter between each other. And also, yeah, they turn into other animals other than just werewolves, and you do get to see different creature designs for each animal. And overall, I found all those fun. A bunch of different shapeshifters. That was great. So yeah, you do have to be in the right mood because this is very cheesy. But to the people that it's right for, you'll definitely love this. Big, crazy, over-the-top, dumb, cheesy Creepshow fun. And they really went with it, you know, they really went for it. So definitely check this out around Christmas. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click right there and see more. Should be something that's in some way relevant. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.